Hi, YouTube. I hope you're doing good. I'm doing pretty good, not bad at all, actually. It's a beautiful day here. I'm halfway into pers- Professor Sam Vaknin's How to Unlearn Helplessness, Regain Control, and let's see, not and, oh, and the word mastery after that. Um, for in my eyes, I'm doing wonderful with that um, compared to the amount of stressors or whatever. The amount of it. It's not just one thing. It's several. And several of, like, I was talking about how um, middle-aged men in particular have a tendency to think certain things that aren't true and have no problem voicing their opinions on that and sticking with it. It doesn't matter if they're right or wrong. But yeah, if it was just one person that did that, yeah, I'd look pretty stupid for saying anything about it. But yeah, no, I'm staying in self-defense mode. It took me decades to fight back for myself, and I'm not going to even even become unaware of the dangers that people actually want to take me into a back alley and end me, you know. So no, I'm going to keep my level. It's not a pretense, it's an actual thing of self protection and getting older, and I don't care who thinks what on that level. You're not in that situation. Like with these men, you're not a woman and you're not an older woman. So shut her down, Sparky. You don't know what you're talking about. You cannot speak from my point of view. You can only speak on your experiences. So, anyway, so I don't know what else is going on today. Just like I say, it's a it's a beautiful day. Just absolutely gorgeous out. I'm not sure what the temperature is. As a matter of fact, let's see. It says 79 in the shade. Sounds about right. It's probably about, oh, it's probably going to be about 80, 85 maybe today. A little warmer. So, yeah, I'm just happy. I had a happy meal yesterday. I had um, thawed out frozen bread dough and just baked bread and had chicken noodle soup and bread. And I made Danish butter cookies with a little chocolate drizzled on top. So, yeah, and they were super good. So, anyway, I told Doug, I'm like, I didn't make a big batch, I just made a little bit. But he's got this certain walk he does when he gets treats and he's walking out of the kitchen. It's just this little skippity doo dah, I got treats type of. It's just, it's, I can't describe it. It's the funniest thing in the world. I told him, did you know you got this little walk you do? It's like he's stealing them, but he's not. But I did tell him if you eat yours, they're gone because I gave him some before I was going to have mine. And later in the day, I said, just remember. So he did save a few of his for um, at night, you know. So I still think I gave him a few more than, yeah, I know I did actually. Yeah, because I cut them where there would be uneven number. So if I took an even number, I knew he would be getting extra. So he's off burning it off. He's got a, oh, he's welding on these. It's kind of a legs. There's these braces that he got from a friend of his. They're about 100 pounds of steel ends, with bars, kind of um, like tubing, like that big around that he got. If you're watching Jim, them are cool. He's gonna put an extension on the bottom of them. He did have little pieces of tying off of a bale that lifts bales for the tractor. He took some of them because we don't need that anymore for my horses gone. But he used a piece of tying and something else and made a leg for these things, but they didn't have a leg to stand on. Ha ha. They're about a foot long and he needs them about 4 foot long. He had about 3 cords of wood with these end cap things stacked up almost to the ceiling on one side of our woodshed, and they tumbled down because of the weight of it. And the end cap thingy didn't hold it because it needed more of a foundation underneath with the upright. It needed that. This down here needed to be longer to set the wood on to hold the end where things wouldn't fall. So he's he's doing that right now. Going to be doing some welding and cutting, and I don't know if he's using his plasma cutter. So we'll probably hear grinding or whatever. Not a big deal. So anyway, for the people, if you're worried about my mental health as far as being off the handle for absolutely no reason, that's not like that at all. I have some really dangerous people in my life, and it's like I say, it's not an act. If it was just like a personification or whatever, and I don't necessarily like it. I don't like it, but I'm not letting it go on this planet. And every so often, I'm going to let it surface. I'm going to play on it, and I'm going to keep that adrenaline in that area for that reason. And I need to do that to protect myself, no matter what anybody thinks. And for the ones that I direct it to, if you can't see the humor in it because you don't have the actual love for me, well, then I absolutely mean my aggression. And if you can see my dark sense of humor and actually who I am behind everything, hey, you're a flippin' genius. You actually know me, and good for you. So, anyway, and that's where I'm at with all that. Because there's the people that actually want to hurt me, they know me very well, and they know that it is not my nature to want to be a fighter. See, that's the problem with the whole thing. So, yeah. And I had to make it where it actually wasn't um, fictitious because if you're ever in danger, you're going to understand. If you're still in danger, you totally understand. I'm not afraid of dying. I just don't like getting beat up, you know? So, anyway, I don't like getting verbally beat up either. See, that's the problem. If it were just like I say, one or two people, but when it's like there's one, there's another one, and then another one, and they keep stepping up and doing the same thing. I've only ran across a few people that are younger than me, men, on the internet that get me, that know I'm not there for any other reason. I started out looking for somebody with a pastoral spirit to talk to Doug as his friend because he really does. He has a few better friends now than he used to, but I put a lot of prayer behind all that, a lot of work, a lot of searching, and I don't think a lot of people actually believed me when I said that because a lot of people are not me. They don't act like me and they don't think like me. And so you've really never been around that. And you can't say you have because I've never met anybody quite like that. And yeah, everybody's different, but not that different. you, you you'd be surprised. So anyway, so yeah, and I really did. I got on here specifically looking for people to console Doug. Isn't that a trip? Yeah. Oh, not sure that he needed it, and God takes care of him anyway. But I don't know. I think I played a hand in calming down the monster, but that's just how I think. Maybe it's impossible, right? I don't know. What do you think about miracles? What do you think about happenstance and coincidences? I watch this channel. It's the history of food on our planet, and it's not just about food. This guy goes in depth. He was talking about, I'm going to pull it up. I'm not going to share it, but you can go look at his channel. It's but I'm going to tell you, I'm going to get the actual name of what was going on in a second here. Let's see. It'll just be a moment. Computer's been a little slow. I think it's not just me, but we had rain last night and the day before we had some. It's like really been one of the wettest summers I can ever remember. See my Minnesota shirt right there. It's got well, our lily is one of the flowers. That's my middle name too, is Susan. It means lily. And loons, yeah. They're so cool to listen to if you've ever sat by a lake or lived by a lake and heard loons singing. They're just beautiful. I'd be out in my rowboat and these little things that go flying by, fly right into the um, okay, I was watching, it's called Tasting History with Max Miller, and it's ancient Egyptian spiral bread of the pharaoh, which is really interesting. I watched him making it and all that, and then he went into like the history of um how they would feed their people with bread and beer, and the higher you are up on the ladder and whatever, the more you got in that type of circumstance. But I mean, it went into like even how they'd make beer out of bread, and then the next one I watched was one of his too, called "The Murder of Egypt's Forgotten Queen, um, Shara al-Dur," and this bread that was named after her called Ali, and that's what it means is her. But anyway, okay, what my point was when he was investigating this Egyptian spiral bread, he had looked some of the information up. Oh no, it wasn't on the spiral bread, it was on the ancient queen and this dish. It's some food with nuts and different things that's called that Ali. It's named after her. Um, so he was investigating on what the ingredients of this dessert that they would make out of bread and nuts and um, sultans, which is looks like a grape type thing, and different things that they would pour milk in there and then sort of like bake it, put honey and spices and whatever. And so he was then investigating this certain day, he was investigating what this dish included. And when he went somewhere, he just happened, see, now is this happenstance a miracle or God? How would you describe it? I know these things happen in everybody's lives. God has these little things he puts together in orchestration for people, and people just don't usually pay reverence to it. It's like, oh, no big deal. It's just coincidence. No, it was totally put there for you. So he gets to this place. I don't know if it was like the grocery store or whatever. And he ran into this person that happened to know about this ancient dish that he's going to recreate, and told him the story about this queen that was assassinated that the dish is named after. It's like, when are people, now this guy knows, he knows, he's totally sure it's happy when it happens. It's like, wow, but it's not a coincidence. It's orchestrated by one or your whoever you pay homage to, you know, but it's a real thing. It's not, yes, it's a miraculous, but it's actually planned. You know, that's the miracle of the whole thing. There's millions of us on this planet, and this type of thing is happening for every one of us on a daily basis, several times a day sometimes, you know. And it'll seem small, but it's really bigger than what you know. See, that's what I'm talking about, you know. It's not just happenstance that these things happen at all. It's like I need to know something, and then it'll be on the internet in my news feed. I didn't say a thing to anybody about anything, and there is what I need right there. It's not happenstance. It's not a coincidence. It's the Spirit of God working in people. It's not a miracle. It's actually planned for us. Of course, now he could have thought, well, I'll do the video in another couple days, and I don't know if he drinks, but I'm just gonna, and decide to go to the bar and have a few beers or whatever, and forget about going to the store or wherever he had this encounter with this person. I forgot, but little details, you know, but and missed the opportunity that God had there for him if he was doing things right in his life, because I assume he's a family person. In fact, I'm pretty sure he is. So he most likely wouldn't be going to the bar unless he was like total scum, you know, because family people don't usually do that. Unless, I mean, you're going out, you know, whatever. You know what I mean. There's ones that hang in the bar and think they have a family, and others that actually have a family and don't hang in the bars, you know? Two types of people in the world anyway. So, cheers. So, really, don't worry about me being off kilter. I appreciate the sentiment. Um, and I understand how you would draw your conclusions in that area. But I talk how I talk, and just because my words are strong doesn't mean that's infecting my soul. It's a little bit different than what you would think. And I know that you may not, or you may believe what I just said, but that's totally up to you too, you know? And here's another thing. Sometimes it's absolutely wonderful just to tell somebody, uh, it is. It's total. therapy. It is. And then once you're done, I mean, if you go, if it goes beyond that and you carry like a grudge or a hatred or something for somebody and it's not just words, then you got a major problem. But if it's just words and you got to get off what you need to say and express how you're expressing it for the reason that you need these stupid people to understand, and sweet little words, sweet nothings in your ear, nothing is right. If I say, oh, please don't do that to me, you're not going to care because you don't care anyway. So I might as well tell you to fuck off. See how that works? Anyway. So, yeah. I saw a really cool recipe for preserving cream longer. You know, like if you don't have any um, refrigeration or whatever, could happen. But they don't know quite how old this recipe could be, like ancient or from Syria. But it ended up in England and it's called clotted cream. You just take a couple inches of cream in a pan, like, oh, like a baking dish type of thing. Bake it for 11, 12 hours on low, your lowest setting, and let the pan cool a little. Put it in the refrigerator covered for another half a day. And then you take what's on top is like yellow. It looks like butter, but it's actually clotted cream. And then you can use the it's almost like a skim milk underneath to make like scones or some other type, like biscuits or whatever, with the leftover. So you really don't waste anything. So you put this clotted cream, which is, I guess, tastes like super butter, you know. I think it would taste kind of cheesy and buttery, but I'm gonna try it sometime just to find out. But the you can extend the life of a fresh product like a dairy product cream by doing that with your cream. And I used to have a milk cow. I wish I would have known that. Would have been easier than making butter. I used to shake it in a jar. Takes a while. I had my kids do it. My stepdaughter and my boys. They'd take turns shaking it, and then when it turned into butter, I taught them how to separate it and maybe put a little salt, whatever. And I think I baked something that they could put it on just for something for them to do. I tried to always keep the kids involved, get them to do something, keep them busy, teach them something new, you know, because kids get bored easy, you know, and even if they don't, it doesn't hurt for them to learn something, you know. So anyway, with that clotted cream, they take like a scone and or say like a biscuit or some kind of bread product and take like a strawberry preserves or strawberry jam and this clotted cream and a scone. Oh, yum. That sounds so good. There was one of their kings, Tudor in England. He liked strawberries. They developed certain big strawberries that they got from New Zealand or somewhere. They brought them in and developed some of the bigger ones that we have on the shelves today, which they call pineapple strawberries in a lot of places because, like, when you pick them, especially, they have like a pineapple scent, you know. But anyway, super interesting channel if you want to check out. It's called Once Again. And it isn't just about food. He's into history. Um, so you get a history lesson, and then he actually cooks what these old dishes are, which is really cool. There's another guy on the net here. Can't remember him. I used to watch. Anyway, this one is called Tasting History with Max Miller. I'd recommend it, not just for the dishes that you can learn what people ate around the world or still do eat in some cases, ancient food, but the history to go along with it and where the history of that dish came from or where it migrated to with the people. In the meantime, you're going to learn new words, you're going to learn new areas of the world and migration of people and languages all within a cooking show. It's so cool. I just love it. It's like now you're talking my language. So, but anyway, so interesting how to make 17th century clotted cream that could maybe become a necessary item in the future of this world the way it's going. You never know. you know, whether or not people will be without refrigeration or whatever. In the winter, we wouldn't have to worry. Everything would just freeze, freeze it. But in the summer, yeah. So I'm not too concerned. I don't worry about things like that. I hope, Doug gets my personality as far as when I flip out and swear. He knows. Yeah, okay. Do I need anger management? No, I manage it just fine. Like I say, thank you for your concern. If I wasn't managing it, you'd absolutely know. Words aren't going to hurt anybody. Regardless of what anybody tells you, words will not kill you, honestly. Well, yeah, maybe you have a super weak heart. You can kill a rabbit with loudness. Yeah, its heart will stop. That's how you hunt for rabbits, by the way. If you're going to shoot it, I've trapped them, I've snared them, and I also raised them. But you whistle, and it'll stand up to see where that hawk is coming from, and then you can blast it. But it'll stop running. It'll stop right in its tracks if you whistle like a hawk tune, you know? Not caw caw. You actually have to whistle on that note that I just described. And you stop a rabbit in its tracks, and then you can get them. That's just too sneaky. That's why people are supposed to take care of animals because we're smarter than them, you know. If we want to use them for food, there's a lot of ways to do that, you know. Yeah, I grew up cooking hossam pepper and squirrel and ducks and all kinds of, wild game. I learned how to process things when I was, as far as plucking feathers and skinning deer and cutting them up, either meat saw or deboning it and grinding meat and making jerky, all kinds of everything. Filleting fish. You ever filleted a fish that big? I have. Because if you catch it in the hooks in there and the hook is like really mangled the fish, you really don't want to throw it back in the water, especially around its relatives. At least I always thought that was pretty gross. You better just eat it because you caught it and that's what you're there for. So it takes a little more time. You don't get much out of it, but then we would go and bury all the, if I filleted it, which we usually did. Sometimes we'd scale them depending on the fish, leave the skin on and fillet them, but I like to fillet both sides and then fillet the skin off too. So, especially if it's like sunfish or bluegills or crappies, that type. They're so good when you fillet them. They're like fish potato chips. No, not quite that thin, because we would get some, they're called panfish typically. And where I lived up north, they were the size of a pan. Around here, they're a big one, a big pumpkin seed's about like that, which, and about that thick. Not too bad. The same with like bass, large or smallmouth. They're considered a panfish too. So I'm not really big on them. A lot of people don't know, and they'll fish for them with leeches, which I'm not really big on. But I would use worms, and I always could catch them if I wanted to. But they do carry tapeworms, and if you, I mean, I don't even like handling them because of that reason, but a lot of people don't know that. Same with perch. They have a little tiny, it's a nematode. It's a worm that's even in them. They're little black specks that are in the meat. And a lot of people will eat walleye and perch and not really realizing that most meat, no matter what it is, carry parasites. And in turn, people, you always have a parasite in you of some type. I almost made a bad joke there. Okay, well, anyway, forget the bad jokes today. People are struggling with that anyway, evidently. Or it's not a joke and they're taking it personally because they deserve it. So there you go on that note, too. But anyway, yeah, so we always have to worry about detoxing ourselves because these types of things are in our food, our fruits, our vegetables, everything, you know. It's truth. So, well, I'm going to get this uploaded. I do appreciate you joining me. I hope somebody out there gets my personality in that respect. See, there's a lot of people that won't say a word, but they'll carry the inside them. Or if they just say something, like you can say whatever you want about me, but then if I get pissed off, I'm the bad one, right? Nah, forget you. You know, really, in all reality, especially when you're trying to share scientific information and you have these jokers out there that are only out there to make money. They do not care about you. They could care less. I care about you. And it's like what? Overlooked. It's like, especially when they take my information and use it as their own and ignore the fact of who actually helped in a situation where your hands would have been tied and give the credit to other people. That fucking sucks. Yeah. You'd be mad too. Yeah. So it's not a problem with anger management. It's a problem with dummy management. And that's what I'm doing. So, okay, everybody. Peace and love from Pine City, Minnesota, USA. Have a good night or day wherever you're at.